Have you ever wondered how tissues are made? We use them daily, often without a second thought, but the process of their creation is far from mundane. Tissues, those soft, absorbent pieces of paper that are our go-to for sneezes, spills, and makeup smudges, have a fascinating journey from raw material to finished product. Tissue paper is a staple in our lives, a silent partner that keeps our noses dry, our hands clean, and our tears wiped away. But have you ever stopped to ponder the journey of this humble paper product? From the towering tree in a lush forest to the delicate square that ends up in your pocket, the transformation is truly remarkable. So grab a cup of tea, sit back, and prepare to embark on a journey that will lead you to view your everyday tissues in a whole new light. It's time to pull back the curtain and reveal the fascinating process behind tissue production. The journey of a tissue begins in the forest with trees. Yes, you heard it right. The primary raw material for tissues is none other than wood. But how does this sturdy, rigid material turn into the soft tissue we use every day? The answer lies in a process called pulping. Wood, once it has been harvested, is chipped into small pieces and then cooked under pressure with chemicals. This cooking process breaks down the lignin that binds the wood fibers together, separating them into individual cellulose fibers. The result is a mushy, fibrous substance known as pulp. Now, this pulp is not yet the delicate tissue you're familiar with. It's a coarse, brown material that's quite a far cry from the final product. To transform this pulp into tissue, it must undergo several more stages of processing. So, our tree has now become pulp, but how does this pulp become a tissue? Welcome to the magical transformation stage. This is where the real metamorphosis happens, where our humble pulp embarks on a journey to become the delicate tissue paper we all know and love. Let's start with the cleaning process. This is where the pulp is meticulously purified, removing any unwanted elements that may have sneaked in. Imagine it as a deep cleansing spa day, where the pulp is treated to a thorough detoxification, ridding it of any impurities. This process ensures that the resulting tissue paper is as clean and hygienic as possible. Next, we move on to the beating stage, a crucial step in the transformation. Now, don't be alarmed by the name. This isn't a boxing match, but rather a process where the pulp is agitated and churned, breaking it down into individual fibers. This beating process is what gives the tissue paper its softness and fluffiness. It's kind of like how whipping cream turns it into a fluffy cloud of deliciousness. Once our pulp has been cleaned and beaten, it's time for the screening process. This is like the final checkpoint in our pulp's journey, ensuring that only the finest fibers make it through. The pulp is passed through a fine mesh screen, filtering out any larger particles that managed to escape the previous stages. It's the equivalent of sifting flour before baking, ensuring that our end product is as smooth and uniform as possible. And there you have it, the magical transformation from pulp to tissue paper. But remember, this is just the beginning. The newly formed paper is still wet and needs to be dried and embossed, which is a story for another stage. And voila! Our pulp has now transformed into paper, but we're not done yet. Our paper still has a few more stages to go through before it becomes the final product that we use every day. But that's a transformation we'll delve into in the next scene, so stay tuned. Ever noticed how soft and absorbent tissues are? Let's find out why. The transformation of paper into the tissues we use daily is a process that's as fascinating as it is intricate. It begins with drying, a crucial step that involves passing the paper through heated cylinders. This method is known as through air drying, and it's used because it allows the paper to maintain its softness, while also increasing its absorbency, two qualities we all appreciate in a tissue. You might be wondering, how does the paper become so thin and feathery? That's where the process of creeping comes in. The paper, while still damp, is scraped off the drying cylinder with a metal blade, a process known as creeping. This causes the paper to crinkle and become wrinkled, giving it that familiar texture we associate with tissues. Creping also stretches the paper, making it softer and more flexible. And that's not all. This process also breaks the fibre-to-fibre bonds in the paper, making it much easier for the tissue to absorb liquids. But we're not done yet. After creeping, the paper is then sent to be cut into the size of tissues we're familiar with. This is done by a machine called a log saw, which cuts the paper roll into logs. These logs are then chopped into smaller pieces, creating individual tissues. Now, we have our tissues, but they're not quite ready to be packaged and sent off. First, they need to be tested for quality. This includes checking the tissue's strength, softness, and absorbency. Once the tissues pass these tests, they're ready to be packaged and distributed. And that's the journey of a tissue, from a roll of paper to the soft, absorbent product we use to wipe our tears, blow our noses, or clean our hands. A process of transformation that combines art and science, of drying, creeping, cutting, and testing. And there you have it. Our paper has now become a tissue. Now, how about some fun facts about tissue production? Ever wondered how many tissues a single tree can produce? Well, hold on to your hats because it's a lot more than you might think. A single tree can yield about 1,000 rolls of toilet paper or 1 million facial tissues. That's a whole lot of sneezes and spills. But let's not stop there. Have you ever considered the speed at which tissue machines operate? These mechanical marvels can produce tissues at an astounding rate of 3,000 kilometers per hour. That's faster than the speed of a bullet train. Imagine, one moment there's a log, and the next, a roll of soft, absorbent tissue. It's like magic, only it's science. Speaking of science, let's delve into a more serious topic, the environmental impact of tissue production. It's easy to think that tissues, being biodegradable, are environmentally friendly, but the process of making them can have a significant environmental footprint. Producing 1 kilogram of tissue consumes about 140 litres of water. That's about the same as taking a 10-minute shower. Plus, the process releases about 2 kilograms of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, equivalent to driving your car for 15 kilometers. However, not all is doom and gloom. Many tissue manufacturers are adopting sustainable practices. They use recycled paper, plant trees to offset the ones they cut down, and are finding ways to reduce water and energy consumption. Some even produce their tissues using renewable energy sources like wind or solar power. So the next time you reach for a tissue, remember the journey it took to get to your hand, from a tree in a forest to a high-speed tissue machine to your home or office. And remember, every tissue you use has an impact on our environment. So use them wisely. Isn't it fascinating how much goes into making a simple tissue? So next time you reach for a tissue, remember the journey it has taken. From the moment a tree is felled in the forest, every step of the tissue's life cycle is a testament to human ingenuity and the marvels of modern manufacturing. Let's take a moment to revisit this incredible journey. It all begins with the raw material, wood pulp. In a carefully controlled process, the pulp is transformed into paper, a process that involves a fascinating combination of heat, chemicals, and pressure. Then comes the transformation. The paper is bleached to give it that fresh, clean look we all associate with tissues. It's then embossed for texture and absorbency. The final product is something we all take for granted, yet is a marvel of modern engineering. Don't forget the finishing touches. The tissue paper is cut, folded, and packaged, ready to be shipped to stores around the world. It's a process that takes immense precision, ensuring that every tissue is perfect and ready for use. And let's not forget the fun facts we shared. Did you know that the average person uses over 43,000 tissues in their lifetime? Or that the fastest tissue-making machine can produce over 1,000 miles of tissue each day? Truly remarkable, isn't it? The complexity and importance of the tissue-making process is something that often goes unnoticed. Yet every time we reach for a tissue, we are benefiting from centuries of innovation and progress. It's a reminder of how even the simplest of items can have a rich and complex history. So, as we wrap up, let's take a moment to appreciate the humble tissue. It's more than just a piece of paper. It's a testament to human innovation, a product of hard work and dedication, and a simple everyday item that makes our lives a little easier. Next time you blow your nose or wipe a spill, appreciate the humble tissue a little more, knowing the journey it has taken from a tree to your hand.